Yeah, now these are red oaks along here like this, and these normally run around a $99 range. Okay, and these are, some of, we get a variety of this size. Now this is what would be called a 7-gallon container, and so that's pretty small. Then a 15-gallon size of a red oak like this is probably going to be more in like the probably 169 range. The 15-gallon size is real popular. Like these over here, those are 15-gallon.
Oh, yeah.
We try to work with the smaller trees. Now, we do order larger trees special order, but they're more work. These are easy to handle. If you have the city of Blue Rapids, they have like an Arbor Day where they're having volunteers to come help them plant. These are real easy to handle, and the 15 gallons, 2 people can handle them real simple. And we try to get everything container. I don't do ball and burlap. Mainly, these pouches like this are more and more popular because they're a root pruning bag. And so, like these, you'll get, if you bought any plants, sometimes the roots circle around inside the pot, and you have to peel that out and straighten it. You don't want to leave them circled. It'll kill the tree. But those, for the most part, the roots hit those bags and it stops them and it prunes them off, and they get a good root ball out of that. These, usually there's going to be some circling probably on the sides and bottom. You have to peel. Some people don't do that. We have, and then we get smaller tree, different kinds in smaller bag because we grow these out. If people want to get a lot of trees, better value, you can get smaller ones to grow out, depending on what you like. These are some 15-gallon ones we just got in. Most of these are already tagged off for the city of Blue, but this is a 15-gallon container. This is a new kind of oak we brought in, and it's called a scarlet letter. Going to be real bright red. It's a really nice looking. These are really nice looking trees. Just got these in.
What do they run?
Still waiting to get. I'm still waiting for my invoice on it because the freight comes. Freight's atrocious, but anyway, we just have to we kind of spread that out on our cost. But this is a 15-gallon. This is just a real popular. We have some. We did get some big ones in one year, bigger pots like this. So we have. This is like a flowering cherry. I mean, this thing is just like in the spring, just old flowers, just huge flowers.
What's the height on that?
On this one, it's going to get about, let me see here. It may get up to 25 foot. This one is probably half grown already.
What about red maples?
Red maples. The maples are right on the other side. Now, we've sold a ton of maple. I have probably 100 maples coming in. One tree to take a note of, these are called ginkgos, if you've never seen them. They have kind of a whitish bark and then a feathered leaf. In the fall, they do bright gold, just like an aspen tree. But then the first freeze, they drop all the leaves. So it's like this carpet around, but ladies really like these trees. I've got a bunch in a row over there too. We had a lot. These are, you talk about screening trees. These are arborvitaes. There's all types of these. These are the emerald green. They don't get quite as tall. The green giants are at the end of the rows. They get 60 foot tall. Those are kind of a rough. I mean, they're a great screening tree. They depend on what you're wanting to block. We get different kinds of pines, and so here's some of the maples. These are Cato maples, they're kind of a sugar maple. A lot of real nice color to them.
Fast growers are faster than the oaks?
Well, red oaks grow pretty quick. And most trees, depending on water and dirt, and this year I didn't get as much growth as I want because it was so hot. We're cranking water on them, but they spend so much time just surviving with the water. They perspire or whatever they call it. It's like expiration or something like that. And but these are a nice Cato maple. I have some bigger ones of these coming in. It's an October Glory.
And those are how much for the maples?
Yeah, these are $229 on those,
Okay.
which is overall. I try not to have any trees priced more than $250. I try to have a value for the tree. People tell me that, you know, some of the big places, you know, I'm way below them, but I don't need to be priced high. You know, I just need to be fair and things like that. But these are a nice one. A lot of fall color to them.
Yeah.
The October Glory, this gets to be about 40 by 35. I have bigger ones of these coming in. These are just typical little 3-gallon pots, but
Do you know when the
yeah.
bigger ones
Well,
are
I have
coming?
a load coming in. Well, the guy said, "Can I offload Sunday morning?" I said, "No, I'll be at church." But I'll probably offload him Sunday afternoon or early Monday morning. And then the other one in Missouri, I'm waiting to find out where it is. It was supposed to be here last week. They had a big nursery day on their place, and I'm assuming they just didn't take care. They just had a big event of some kind. So, I mean, it's just a 12-hour drive. So I'm like, when are you going to get here? I hope it's this week. And they'll, I mean, by the 1st of October, we should have everything in here.
Good.
Yeah. So, and so we'll have a variety of sizes of these October Glories.
And these
We have
are how much are
these are
69,
like
70?
$69
Yeah,
range.
okay.
Yeah. And then when we work up a package of quantities of trees, we can do some discounting. So I mean that, it's what we can do. These are this is another Cato maple, which Cato maples are just a smaller, more compact, more drought resistant type of tree of a maple. And this is called the flash fire, real bright colors and things like that. This is the last one of my autumn blazes. I have maybe a dozen or more of these coming in, real popular. They're a little bit bigger maple, but they're the bright orange, reddish kind of. They're real popular, real popular. This is a red point maple, and real popular in towns and things, because it size wise it gets 45 by 30, real bright red. It's a little bit hardier, been able, resistance to some of the bugs and like the Japanese beetles and things like that. I brought a few of these in, and then when Migo was cutting trees down, and I guess the city was kind of recommending some kinds of trees for people, and that was one of them. And so we'll have this in a variety of 7s and 15-gallon containers as well.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so there'll be some of those.
And what's a tree like that?
This one's $149.
140.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so the bigger ones are probably going to be in that 2 to 229, 199, 229 range. Sometimes the price varies just a little bit depending on what my ending freight bill was. Those are red buds on the other side.
Oh yeah.
Some of the leaves have started to change. I think probably heat stress, and it's getting closer to fall. These are called forest pansies, and they have kind of a maroon leaf all year long.
Oh.
So if you're looking to put some color in things, they would look. You see those maroon leaves?
Oh, yeah.
Those are Canada red choke cherries. The Forest Service is that's one of the trees they kind of recommend out there for ornamentals, because a lot of people are looking for new ornamentals after because Kansas has signed on to the quarantine on the flowering pear trees. That they say are invasive.
Yeah.
Even though there's a number of varieties of those that don't produce fruit. These were those Crimson King type maples, but this is from heat distress is what's happening here. So, but normally the leaves are there's a little bit of red left on these trees are not going to make the cut for the end of the year, but we have some others of the crimson type maples coming in that have the maroon and reddish leaves all year long. But these are like this one is a century maple. They call it columnar, so they're for narrow. Like if you're looking for some narrow type trees, there's maples that are that way, and also some oaks that are that way. They're more of a columnar, so they don't spread out, but they they kind of like you could accent like scoreboards and things, things like that. Yeah. Yeah, we have some of those fast-growing poplars over there too. These are just some of the other maples, Pacific maples. So there's a lot of different varieties.
There is a lot of different maples.
And we'll have probably half a dozen or more on these. And this is just kind of a typical size of some we get.
Yeah, that's a good size.
Yeah, these, these particular ones showing when you start seeing this browning off, it's just showing some heat stress. These are really pretty almost the whole year, but there's some of those last few 100 and something with the wind just dries trees out, and they get plenty of water, so we just keep them going. Then of course we always have standby sycamores, people like that, and we have people always like those. Then there's a tree called a plane tree, which is similar to a sycamore. I think without the balls. We have some of those coming in as well. That's a popular kind of tree. Bald cypress is more of a these are for Blue Rapids. They wanted some of those in their field, and these are going to be pretty common of the sizes and things. Yeah, I try to do a lot of my own propagating, but we started, and like the field is kind of bare right now. I had so many grow, and I got them up to growth height. I sold all of them, and I had a few years that my seed crop didn't do very well. So I decided, well, I'm going to just bring some trees and try what does that look like. And I found people really like getting those known brands, but I sell a lot of just the native grown things that I grow out as well. A lot of smaller, there's a lot of people who will come in and buy 10, 20, or one or two to 10, 20 little trees. These are they're a linden tree. These have both. One of them is for the city of Blue Rapids, but a linden tree is a pretty popular landscape tree. There's different varieties. These particular ones are green spire, but they have a real nice shape. And the linden tree is also known as a bee tree. It's a real good pollinator. It's just little flowers on, bees go crazy. We have one up at the church up here, and you could sit under it and you just hear a hum because there's so many bees. We can bring in larger trees.
Oh, okay.
And they're big, and it takes, some of them come in these really large containers like some of these are, and they'll be pretty good size. We walked right past one autumn blaze I have, so I'll show you a size that we can get it. But these are so this linden's popular. We have some aspens. Now these are the mountain aspens, and I think they don't like Kansas dry. They're used to dry, but I think they just got burned. But this variety is called a prairie aspen. Kind of grows out on the plains of Nebraska, so you get the aspen colors and things like that, and the flittering leaves, and people like that. It's just and then these are those Canada red choke cherries. They're a smaller growing tree, but they got their bright red leaves. If any of you have been to Estes Park, Colorado, their whole downtown that's what these trees are. That's where I saw them, and I go, I want to get some of those. Yeah. So, they're kind of a suckering tree, so their trees require a little maintenance too. So if you do get like a Canada red, there's some of these they sucker, and so like this one down at the end, this great big one. This is this is a big Canada red, and it just, but it's got possibilities.
Do they produce fruit?
Little tiny berries. The birds will clean them up. They won't make them. I'd hardly ever get any. Then we come through here, and then there's some. These are service berries. Are a popular tree because they have flowers in the spring, full of white flowers, real bright fall foliage as well. And they're they're a smaller tree, so they're not going to be one of the great big trees. This is it's a crabapple tree that's got but it's that's as big as a crabapple as it gets, a little thing like that. But it's got the reddish bark and the flowers, and it's called a Royal Raindrops, is the variety of it, and it's. I mean, it's common in urban landscapes, people in their homes and things like that. This is just another one of the service berries through here, and some smaller dogwoods. We kind of the flowering type of dogwood, so they're the smaller. When you're looking for something small in some area, that's kind of what they do. Yeah. And then, of course, we're back to the oaks, and
that's what I think they'd like to see. Started on that.
Yeah, and the Scarlet Letter in particular is one of more of those narrow type ones like that, but it's got really good color. The oaks we have coming in, we have a number of red and scarlet oak. Scarlet oak is like a red, but brighter red. So we have some good sizes of those coming in. And then also just some other oaks, like shimmered oak, and we got several nut-tall oaks, just a variety. So, these are chinkapins, and they're a pretty nice. Yeah, I was kind of pleased with the size that came in. I had the city of Blue Rapids wanted 2, and I had another customer that wanted 2, and the nursery had 6. I said, well, just send me all 6, and we'll see what happens. And I did. Like this one, I said, hey man, what's this thing? It's like a snake skin, and they go, this is real common on these particular trees. They shed their barks when they get to a certain size. But this one, it's tagged for neighbor, but that autumn blaze and that kind of a container, that's about a 25-gallon container to get, and those most likely from a cost perspective, we'd have to do the numbers, probably be more in the $350 range type thing when it comes to that. So, but you can get some that size ready to go.
So when you do plant a tree like that, you want to dig your hole bigger than so you can get the roots out, and deeper also?
No. Now, the one thing about deeper, what you want, especially with a root ball like that, is you want that's the ground level right there.
Yeah.
If you dig out underneath it, as it settles, it's going to settle down into the ground and could go under. So you kind of want it's kind of hard underneath. And it depends on the soil as well too. And if you have we have really good dirt here. If you have just that bottom ground kind of dirt, you don't make it much bigger than like 4 to 6 inches bigger, the hole. Of course, you need room to move it around. A bigger one like that, you may need a little more room to move it around to get it level and things like that. And if you have machinery to do it. And then the bigger the hole, the more opportunity you'll have for staking it as well. Now, because and then too, like you said, you have to get to kind of fluff it out so you can get the roots spread out. I mean, it's going to be, you want the hole big enough to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And if you have, like in these, if you have roots that are spun all the way around it, you can stretch it out and you can just clip them off.
Oh.
Yeah, and then a root, if you nick the roots, that's good. It's a wound, and that causes more roots to grow from it. So, and like on these bags, I tell people, I said, just take your razor blade knife and just peel it off like a banana, and it'll nick some of the roots, which is just fine.
And just leave the bag in with it.
No, you peel the bag off and tear it off, but you just take your knife and just cut, and then just peel it off.
Yeah.
I said, don't try to wrestle it out of the bag. Tear the bag up.
Right.
Even with the plastic pots, most of these will come out, but some are they start to swell the pot out. I just tell people, just cut them.
Yeah.
Just cut it and break it off, and don't unless you're trying to save them. Like I have a couple sizes of augers I use, but if you've got 2-foot auger,
Yeah.
use a 2-foot auger. It's a lot
Uh-huh.
better than digging with your hands. And,
Yeah.
and then you would just put the dirt. And it, you know, the staking and things like that.
Staking,
I mean, it's
yeah.
all labor, but I mean, if you have people to help with
And
that.
then we even went back around and we put mulch around them and kind of build it up, you know, a little berm like
Yeah.
type thing.
Well, what it's been a recent phenomenon, I'd say, and some of the it seems to be more of a landscape phenomenon, but people do like a volcano where they'll put mulch this high up on it, but it'll rot it'll rot
Yeah.
that stem. I usually tell people you can put 2 or so inches around it to help keep the moisture in,
Yep.
weeds down, and insulate. Do that for the first couple years. Let the roots get established, and then I was just counting up. I think it's like at least 140 that are coming in, more trees, and different ones. And some of them I already have, you know, slated off for certain folks, but a lot of maples, a lot of oaks, variety, and
And this is supposed to be the best time of the year?
it's a good time.
When would you say the range is from beginning
Until the ground's too frozen.
until it gets
Yeah,
too frozen?
I mean, even like yesterday, it was so hot. I go, man, this is hot. You know, I think October is like up to Thanksgiving is a really great time. I mean, we sell stuff all the way up until then, and as long as because right now all the energy is starting to go down into the roots, and it helps the roots to grow. You know, to get. So this is a good time. Spring's another good time. You know, early before these container trees, you can plant them all year long. But when you transplant anything, you just have to care for it a little bit. And you know, summer is it's too hot to work almost.
More.
You know, it just nobody. You know, it's hard on the people doing the work, planting trees.
And then a lot more watering through
Yeah.
the summer.
Yeah. I have them all. They're. I mean, the bag. Well, they probably rooted in a little bit more, but they're ready to just pull up out of the ground. And then we need to shift them to bigger pots. Or this whole row here, we're converting to a system that they call pot in the pot, where you put a pot in the ground as a socket, and then another pot slides in it with the tree. It's easier to harvest and things like that. So these are some that we just put into production or out in the field to grow up some spruce trees and some more these are more of the native red maples and that we've grown here. So these will be ready here next. Huh?
Silver maple?
No, these are reds. Their leaves are a little on red maples will they get a real lot of variety of them. So that's not you get the little triangular leaf, but these you can already see the red starting to come into there. So they're going to have a.
Yeah, I don't think we were wanting any silver.
Oh, no. Yeah, no. Yeah, and just watch your step. That some of these holes are. Yeah, silver maples have really been the issue, and that's why a lot of there's kind of these cultivars of the maples, because they're maybe a little sturdier. They don't get so scraggly and things like that. Like the autumn blazes are real popular, but it was kind of one of the first ones. It's a cross between a red and a silver.
Oh.
So you know, and they get a little bit bigger, but they're not as breakable as the silvers. And then these are just different oaks that we have, you know, going. A lot of them need to be pruned up a little bit. We usually do our pruning after Thanksgiving time as it allows.
What's the most popular tree that you sell?
Red Point maple.
Red Point maple.
The maples and then the oaks have been just really popular. Other than fruit trees, we sell a lot of fruit trees.
So those are the most popular. Which ones do you think are best to plant for this area of the state?
Well, the Red Point maple has been really good because it's supposed to be fairly drought resistant, had pretty good result. And the oaks are just a sturdy tree.
Yeah.
We try. People gnats.
Yeah.
They have the U.S. broke into growing zones.
Yep.
Technically, we're 6A.
Yeah.
I try to bring in trees that are 5, which is a little colder because we get 5 winter. You know, we get a blast of 20 below zero for a week, and it just wreaks havoc on. Also, I mean, again, I like some of the natives, the reds, oak. I have a lot of bur oaks around here. They're not necessarily a good landscape tree. They're kind of the tree that you have out in your field and stuff, but they grow big. They're big trees over time, and so I also gauge some things. I pick a lot of, I collect a lot of my seeds up at the Wamego City Park, and they have like a shummered oak over by the train station. Beautiful. I mean, stretches way out. They have some beautiful bald cypresses there, some black oaks, some scarlet oaks. Those are just really just nice to have, and I like, and then. For the flowers like the all season type, the serviceberry trees are really nice. I mean, I still love the flowering pear trees, but since those are going away, I have a few left, and I've had a few that I brought in special order for folks. So another one that seems to be popular more in the towns and stuff is a frontier elm. Now it's because it gives good fall color, and it's resistant to the diseases that wiped out the elms. There's lace bark elms, which people like. It's got a really neat exfoliating bark, smaller tree. It's not like the American elms, the big, they go crazy. So those would be kind of the smaller. Of course, I mean, like any guy, you ask me what's my favorite tree, the one that somebody buys, that's one of the things, I started with all the natives, and people like those, but then they come, and some people want the variety that, there's really in Kansas, the only native tree is a cottonwood probably, and then everything else has come. Also, I mentioned the ginkgo tree, so those have just been real popular. I just grew them because I thought, these are neat looking trees. But I sell a lot of trees to deer hunters doing deer plots and things like that. And I had, for one season, I had about 6 groups come through. The guys came with their wives, and they would walk by, and the guys kept walking, and the ladies would stop at those ginkgo trees, and they'd say, "You go buy whatever you want. I'm taking these home." And I've had people buy these to line their driveways with. These are all my native oak trees and stuff that they're not top quality, so people buy these for their deer plots and things. They're $49 trees. Yeah, this chinkapin oak. I mean, they get acorns. I mean, these trees. Oh, this one's got acorns on it sitting in here. Just a few years, they have the acorns on them, and the deer just love them.
Yeah, they do.
But these, they need to be transplanted or repotted, and sometimes I have to water them sometimes in the winter, so that it just, you don't want them drying out. And if you have like a ground, probably one of the best things you can do is go invest in a moisture meter. There you can get them. I have a $15 one I've been using forever. I went and bought a longer one, but I've had troubles with it. But I just check is the ground. It's just a scale. It's not real scientific, but it ranged from dry to wet. I picked one on Amazon. It's like $15, but and it has a probe about this long. You can buy really high dollar ones, but if you're just wanting to know, hey, is the ground down? We come around, and we look to see if any tree hasn't been watered, and like these in the field like this, we run. They get watered a little bit every other day, maybe half a gallon or something like that. Yeah, we have a dripper system that runs them. You don't want them. Most trees don't like soggy feet. They don't like to get dry. Brutal freezing's not good.
Yeah.
But like pruning, you don't want to do pruning when it's like January, because when you prune off a branch, it might weep a little bit.
Yeah.
If you get a real hard freeze, it'll freeze burn that tree. Okay. So that happens. I've done that myself.
Sure.
But it's freezing's okay. Like these sit above ground all winter. We bunch them together and stuff like that, and they're popsicles, but
they survive.
As long as they don't dry out. The winter, it gets so low humidity, and a little bit of wind, it'll suck the moisture out of everything.